Welcome to Stanislaus Football Weekly, and now for your hosts, Joe Cortez and Brian Vanderbeek.
Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Joe, this is Brian, and this is our 43rd season of Stanislaus Football Weekly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we are. And I feel bad. I didn't shave today, Beek.
Yeah, your hair had a Mike Myers thing going last week, too. I was hoping for a repeat of that.
Well, the gal who cut my hair up and moved to Washington, and she didn't tell anybody, and she usually calls me when it's time for a haircut, and I've just been kind of waiting.
And there you go.
Anyway, hey, our Bulldogs got off the schneid last week, Fresno State.
Against Southern somebody?
Well, your Bulldogs, you went there.
That's right.
My daughters just went there, so.
There you go.
Anyway, let's get to Stanislaus football.
Let's do this.
Now.
We've got 10 teams still unbeaten going into this week's play, and we've got some league play starting this week, so some of the unbeatens will be playing each other, and some will just fall along the wayside.
That's right.
Yeah, starting in the MMC, Davis and Modesto are unbeaten. Mm-hmm. Pittman is unbeaten in the CCC. In the VOL, we've got 3 teams still unbeaten: Oakdale, Manteca, Sierra.
And we're about this far from having a 4th.
Yes.
Central Catholic nearly.
Yep.
Shows you what a tough league that's going to be.
Houston is unbeaten in the TVL, as they were this time last year.
That's right.
And in the Southern League, we've got 3 teams remaining unbeaten: Oristimba, Ripon Christian, and Gustine. So the first question is, which of these teams do you think is going to stay unbeaten the longest?
Oh, wow. If I had to place money on a team staying unbeaten the longest, I'd probably go with Oakdale.
Yeah.
I can see them being unbeaten going into that Central Catholic match. Now, they've got a gauntlet to run with Sierra and Manteca coming up in Levi Stadium on October 11. But I could see the Mustangs getting through that.
Yeah, I think Oakdale is the best pick for stay unbeaten the longest, with the possible exception of Pittman, because Pittman doesn't play Merced until October 24. And I think Pittman might be able to roll until then, but we'll see. They've got an awful long road to hoe there, too.
I think Oristimba can make a nice run. You know, in the Southern League, I'm not sure about Mariposa all of a sudden. You know, Mariposa was the big pick by the coaches to win it all. They've lost a couple games.
Yeah.
Livingston, they lost to Livingston last week. LeGrand is 0-2. Oristimba, you know, they've been realigned from the Trans Valley League. They could make a nice run. Well, wouldn't that be fun if they were undefeated going into that?
I'm actually going to see Oristimba play this week, and
up at Ripon.
I'm going to actually temp a pick here a little bit later. I don't think Oristimba gets past this week.
Oh,
but we'll see as an
look
undefeated
out,
team.
Beak.
Well, so the second question here is, which of these currently unbeaten teams is going to make the longest run into the postseason? Now, granted, the team that's still the favorite to make the longest run of all the way to Carson is Central Catholic,
right?
And they have a loss.
They have a loss.
So I guess we have to project which of these teams maybe wins a section championship, maybe goes to a NorCal game.
Again, my pick would be Oakdale to do that. Just like Manteca did last year, I could see Oakdale winning the D3 title and going on to a NorCal Bowl.
Well, again, I do think that VOL champion will go to. It could be strange too, because we could have a situation where Central Catholic could win the VOL and actually end up having 2 VOL teams, because they play in separate divisions once they get into the playoffs down in Carson, or at least in the NorCal Bowls. Very interesting. I agree there too. I think Oakdale could make the longest run of all these currently unbeaten teams. And that takes us right into some of this week's games that they're going to be looking at. And we do have a game here, like I just mentioned. We have a game pitting 2 unbeaten teams, which is Oristimba is going to be playing at Ripon High School against Ripon Christian. And we're not going to pick this yet, but I just think that this is very interesting. Obviously, both unbeaten. Ripon Christian's opponents going in are 5-5. Oristimba's are 2-8. They do have a common opponent.
Who's the common opponent?
Linden.
Oh yeah, Linden.
And
Linden's down.
Linden's down.
Graduated 21 of 22 starters off last year's squad.
Ripon Christian's played the stronger foes so far, have a better offensive-defensive balance so far. Well, I've already told you I'm going to pick Ripon Christian down below, but that'll be official. Yeah, official once we get to the picks. But I'm interested too, because that's a game I'll be at, returning to my old high school football field to watch that one.
Stouffer Field.
West Stouffer Field, yeah.
Not Stauffer.
Stouffer
Field.
Stouffer Field. We also have a couple interesting games in the MMC this week, with unbeaten Davis taking on Enox at Downey.
Yeah, I was over at Davis High today for a story that I'm going to write, and it will appear in Thursday's edition of the Modesto Bee. You know, they're really excited over there. Davis has really got something rolling right now. They're coming off a big win of Western Ranch. It's good to see. You know, Davis was once the kingpin of the old CCC.
Right.
You know, they were a real dominant program. Been hit by declining enrollment recently and had some hard times, but they're excited over there. It's good to see.
It's good to see too, because I've heard Davis coaches, even winning Davis coaches, say, "Well, we always play the underdog because of our declining enrollment."
Yeah.
I'm glad to see the coaches not using that anymore.
No,
They're saying,
no,
we
they
are
wanted
who
no
we
part
are.
of that.
We are who we are, and we're going to take you on no matter.
Hey, guess
how
who I
many
saw in the
numbers are.
hallways today?
Hard telling.
Lynn Johnston.
Oh,
The former
yeah.
Davis High coach.
Absolutely.
He's coaching the offensive line for Tim Garcia, and ran into him when I was being escorted around campus today. So
Escorted.
well, not like that. I mean, it wasn't.
Okay. Also in the MMC this week, Downey plays Bayer at Grigori, and what could be an interesting game.
Yeah.
They could. I mean, Downey. We know what Downey's going to do. They're going to spread you out. Can Bayer stop that?
Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
But you know, can Downey stop Bayer's kind of three-pronged attack with Nate Trujillo, running back at Jay Green, and Caleb Salfeld, the receiver there, and there's another receiver. I forget. Barnett.
Okay.
I forgot the first name.
Yeah.
But you know, Bayer has some weapons, and we're going to see if Downey can handle them.
One of the unbeatens that we mentioned up above in the MMC shouldn't have that tough a time this week as Modesto is going to visit Johansson.
Right. You know, Johansson is winless this year, and the injuries are starting to pile up there. It's been another rough season for Grant Genesi and his team. Modesto's on a roll. That's probably a comfortable win for the Panthers.
Well, mention of the unbeatens. The biggest game involving an unbeaten this week. Central Catholic is not the unbeaten team, but they're going to play one. Manteca at Central Catholic, and Central Catholic's re-indoctrination into the VOL after a lot of years. Yeah,
you know, when we learned that Central Catholic was moving into the VOL, we knew that there were going to be three biggies: Manteca, Sierra, and of course Oakdale.
Right.
And then that non-league game, of course, with St. Mary's, they always have. But we were really looking forward to these, and here we go. Yeah. This is the first of the biggies.
And we'll be picking that later. But before we move along the show, speaking of that Manteca Central game, you had a chance to talk to Roger Canepa.
I did, and let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Coach, you opened VOL play this year, and you waste no time getting after it. You start with Manteca, reigning champs.
Yeah, Manteca's a great football program, always has been. When I coached in VOL, they were always right in the top two. So we're happy to be in the VOL and get a great opportunity to face a great football program.
You haven't faced these teams recently, but you have coached in the VOL before when you were in Sonora.
Right.
You're familiar with the style of this league. Does that come into play?
Oh yeah, a little bit, but it's been 17 years since I've been there.
Sure.
You know, and it's always been a great football league. I mean, and you know, the same schools are basically the same schools that are on top now. It's going to be a great football league. I mean, there's 3 or 4 section title teams, a couple teams that played in the state game, and one was almost there. So we're excited.
And of course, it'd be great if you had Montel Bland this week. He was a little dinged up last week against Bayer, his ankle.
Yeah.
How's he faring?
Oh, I think he's going to be ready to go. He's probably won't practice today, which is Monday. Maybe get him out there Tuesday, but he's excited. You know, the injuries are part of the game. You know, you got to move ahead. We got quality people that can back him up, and just keep moving forward.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck Friday.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's Roger.
That's Roger.
That's
in a
Roger.
nutshell.
Going back, boy, that's a big game for him. That's a big game for Central Catholic.
And that's where I'll be this week.
Yeah.
That's right. I'll get my first look at Central Catholic this season.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Before we move along, I want to talk about what we have, the online package we have every week, including this show, which you can see generally starting every Wednesday night here at modb.com. Every Tuesday night, you have your chat.
My live chat, Tuesday at 7.
How are those going?
That's been going good. We've been getting some decent traffic, and invite everybody to log on and ask me some questions.
In addition to that, we're running live scoreboards at modb.com on Friday nights, which have become very popular.
Yeah.
And also every Friday night after we do our videos and write our stories and drag it in because it's 1 in the morning, we sit down and actually talk about football. And
we do, because it's what we do.
Because it's what we do, and do it on video. And our post, what are we calling that these days?
The Pigskin post-game wrap. It's not a podcast anymore because they're video.
It's video.
It's videoed and put online. It's not a podcast
The
anymore.
post-game wrap, and that goes up Friday night, and you'll be able to see that. If you stay up late enough, you can watch that Friday night, or else you can just catch it Saturday morning.
You don't have to wait till Saturday morning to
modb.com.
find out.
Obviously, you can read our game stories online. You can buy a newspaper Saturday morning and read those online, or actually read it in actual print.
Yeah.
And
we still sell those.
We still sell those. Yeah. And if you go online at any time, you can see some great galleries from our really talented photo staff. And here's what some of those photos look like. Okay, Joe, you ready for some picks?
I'm always ready, Beak.
Let's
do it.
for picks.
Bring it.
Let's pick the big game first. Manteca at Central. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, I think being at Central is a big deal for the Raiders. I'm going to go with Central Catholic. You know, this game was probably about a year too late. You know, last year, of course, Manteca went on that run and went to the NorCal final. Central was the NorCal champion, went on to win the state championship. If they could have played last year, the earth might have spun off its axis. It would have been a huge game. They were both really big teams up front. Manteca not so big this year. Central not so big this year. But I think Central's skill players are going to be what carries the day. I talked to Roger, and it looks like Montel is going to be. They're hoping he's available. He's rehabbing, and they're glad it's not a season-ending injury.
Right.
Montel Bland, their big tailback.
Yeah, Montel Bland. I mean, and again, going back to what we talked about with Roger at the beginning of the season, it's going to be attrition. It really is going to be attrition, because every time Central Catholic loses a player, Montel Bland's not just a running back, he's a linebacker. Every time they lose a player, it's like they lose 2 players because they don't have the depth that other VOL teams have.
Correct.
I like Central this week. If this game is played 4 weeks from now, I might like Manteca because of the attrition. Because this is going to wear, it's going to wear on Central. Maybe not injuries, but bumps and bruises that are going to slow them down during the process of the VOL season. But I like Central this week.
Okay.
Here's a game I already know we're going to disagree on. Oristimba at Ripon Christian.
You're picking
Ripon Christian.
Why?
Ripon Christian's played at home as much as they can be at home because they don't have a home field. They actually got to march clear across their parking lot.
Yeah, it's a tough road trip.
Tough road trip to play at Ripon High. Ripon Christian's foes are 5-5. They're undefeated. Both these teams are undefeated. Oristimba's foes are 2-8. Ripon Christian's played the tougher schedule. They're at home. I like Ripon Christian in this game.
I'm going to go with Oristimba. Quarterback Joe Sheldon is a real dual threat for the Warriors. He run for more than 100 yards per game this year. He throws for about 150. Austin Martins, their running back, he's averaging over 100 yards a game. And he plays really good defense from his linebacker position. And they've got a little something going. You know, they beat Fireball on the last play of the game when Sheldon hit Jesse Navarro for a 45-yard fade pattern. Last play of the game to win that. So sometimes better lucky than good. I'm going to go with the Warriors.
Okay, moving on to the MMC. Davis Enox at Downey High.
You know, if I had penciled in all my picks before the season, I would have picked Enox. But Enox is off to an 0-4 start. Sure, they're desperate for a win, but I really like what Davis has got going on right now. They're flying high, picking the Spartans.
For the exact same reason, just confidence. There's a confident Spartan bunch coming into this game. And
they can play. You know, the Spartans have a lot of skill players.
Yep.
A lot of skill players.
So I'll also take Davis in this one. Downey Bayer, and that game's at Grigori.
I'm going to go with Downey. You know, the first time I saw Downey, I thought they had some defensive issues they needed to address. But I think they're just going to be too tough to stop offensively.
Yeah, I'm going with Downey. Just the spread offense. I just don't think Bayer can score with them. It's just
Right.
the bottom line there. And just go off the board. I would like to do that. Just
Calling an audible, are you?
Central Valley at Pacheco.
I'm going to go with Pacheco.
Yeah.
You know, Central Valley's off to a 2-1 start under first-year head coach Scott Edwards. That's nice to see, but I think Pacheco is one of the two teams in the WAC who are going to vie for this title. Pacheco and Patterson. I think it's their league.
Yeah, I do think the WAC's going to come down to that Pacheco-Patterson game, and Central Valley's not going to get
Pacheco's tough. Ginda.
Yeah.
And the other, I can never say his name. I don't have it written on my notes, but he's the big 6'1", 230 pounder. Yeah. Kamala, I believe is his last name. Ron knows it. Ron Augustini has it committed to memory.
So I'm picking Pacheco in this game
Me too.
also. So, anything else you want to say?
I don't. How about Go Dogs?
Go Dogs?
Who do they have this week?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't even know either. No, that's it. I'm done.
Very good. So, for Joe Cortez, I'm Brian Vanderbeek. Go out and watch some football and have a great football weekend.